Today, we're looking at a turquoise ink from the Atramentis Charlemagne. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, there's timestamps down below so that you can skip around to the parts you're most interested in, or if you watch the whole thing, I'd appreciate you. You can follow me on Instagram, and if you're new here and like fountain pen inks as much as I do, I would invite you to subscribe. In order to make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I inked up this Kaweco Brass Sport, wrote with it for a day, and then used it to make the notes for this video. This first writing sample is done on Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper in order to have some kind of standardization to look at. There's additional writing samples later in the video. Now, let's look at the writing sample. I picked this ink up in sample form that comes in a vial like this. And to keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's take a look at the Clairfontaine. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. The extra fine is lighter than the stub with no feather, spread, halo, sheen, some nice shading that's going on. The Q in Quick starts dark, gets light, gets very dark into the rest of Quick. Brown starts dark and gets light. Fox starts light and gets dark. Lazy starts dark and gets light. 8 seconds to dry. Medium is darker than the extra fine, not quite as dark as the stub. Medium has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no real shading, 13 seconds to dry. The scrubby of the extra fine, when you look at the far left to far right, you do see some color variation. The medium, you see none, and that's what we got in the writing. Tomoe River. No bleeding, normal Tomoe River ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade. The extra fine is a lot lighter than the stub. It has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, spots of shading going on. Quick starts a little darker, gets a little lighter, gets darker again. The starts light and gets dark. Over starts light and gets dark. 10 seconds to dry. Medium is darker than the extra fine, not quite as dark as the stub. No feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade. 17 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both show us no color variation, although we did get some in the extra fine. Rhodia. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade. Extra fine is quite a bit lighter than the stub with no feather, spread, halo, sheen, some nice shading going on. Quick starts light, gets dark. Brown starts dark, gets light, gets darker again on the N. Fox is lighter at the top of the F than it is at the bottom of the F. It goes into a lighter tone than very dark at the X. 9 seconds to dry. Medium is darker than the extra fine, just a little bit lighter than the stub. No feather, spread, halo, sheen, and no shade. 15 seconds to dry. Scrubby of the extra fine shows us some color variation. Scrubby of the medium shows us none. And that's what we got in the writing. I agree with Vita that I've learned a lot by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down and immediately put it into water for 10 to 15 seconds. And we see that this is a dye all in its own. This isn't a mix getting to this color. It's fleeing straight up the filter paper and gathering at the top. The one on the right, I let dry for 10 minutes before I dunk it into water, and it's moving slower and it's leaving little bits of green behind, but it's really showing that we're not expecting any kind of real resistance here. Resistance tests are done to see how well this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pen. Now, I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, I don't use this in a note-taking situation at all if I have to go back and highlight. Not a good idea. Water is lifting all the darkest tones, leaving some of the green behind, and I might think that it couldn't get it all. The pen flush, though, is got an area that it's starting to show some of the white of the paper coming through, which makes me say pen flush is all that you're going to need. The 1/3 bleach solution is completely removing it from the paper, but leaving this little yellow staining, but I don't think you need 1/3 bleach solution to get this out of your pen. I test viscosity or flow by using a tilt test that I've linked in this video. For the inks I've tested, I have found a average viscosity of 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. The Atramentis Turquoise has a viscosity of 2.33, making it normal. To find my average dry times, I use my writing samples done on Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. I average all of those. Now, for the inks I've tested, I found an average dry time of 17 seconds, with the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. The Atramentis Turquoise has an average dry time of 12 seconds, making it dry just a little bit faster than normal. Instead of finding inks that look like the Atramentis Turquoise, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. Now, I went for a nice magenta here. I went for Krishna's Sakthy. The second writing sample is done on Life, Viscosity, and Franklin Christoph paper. Here we have Life paper. We get no bleeding and no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade. The extra fine is a lot lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, some shading spots going on, like brown starting darker, getting lighter, quick starting lighter, getting darker, the starts lighter, gets darker, over starts lighter, gets darker, 7 seconds to dry. Medium is darker than the extra fine, not quite as dark as the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shading, 11 seconds to dry. Scrubby of the extra fine shows some color variation left to right. Scrubby of the medium shows none, and that reflects what we got in the writing. Viscosity notebooks. No bleeding, although it's getting deeper into the page on the medium. Couple spots, very minor. No real ghosting, although in the medium we're seeing quite a bit more. Nothing that would stop most people from using the back of the page. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade. The extra fine is quite a bit lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. 6 seconds to dry. Medium is darker than the extra fine. It's even darker than the stub. It has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. 8 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation. We didn't expect it, and we didn't get it. Last up is Franklin Christoph paper. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. Extra fine is quite a bit lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. 3 seconds to dry. Medium is much darker than the extra fine, same tone as the stub. No feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. 6 seconds to dry. Scrubby of the extra fine actually does show some color variation, although we didn't get it, and the medium shows none, and we got none, and that is all that I have for the writing sample. So what do I think of the Atramentis Charlemagne? Given the right pen and paper, it can put down some decent shading, although on a majority, it's just going to put down a very solid green-leaning turquoise. It's very nice to look at. What nib and pen give the best writing experience with this ink? Well, a wet pen is going to kill what shading that it has to offer, but it is going to put down a nice refreshing green for you to look at. I do new ink reviews every single day, so if you're new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.